Joining me right now is UFC lightweight Damien Beatdown Brown. What's going on, Damien? Welcome to Kumite Radio.
Thanks for having me, man. Not too much. It's a fine day out here in Oz.
Yeah, I see that in the background. The sun is shining bright.
Yeah, man, it's a beautiful day. It's hot, but it's like 35 degrees
That's ridiculous.
Celsius. Yeah, it's hot.
Going back to your last fight, which has gotten you gained you a lot of popularity. You know, a lot of people are watching you now, and you know, in that fight, it was very close. A lot of people thought you won that fight. Do you think that the judging in MMA should change a little bit?
I mean, what's the solution? It's probably more the answer. Like, it's one thing to say that something needs to change. It's another thing to have a solution. I don't think that there's a solution to judging fights that's going to be like give you any more accuracy than what we've already got, unless you had the judges sitting in a room, not cage side, watching it from 4 different angles on screens and judging the fight by statistics. And even then, stats don't show what really happens in fights. So I don't know if there's a better answer or a better way of doing it than what we already do. I'll tell you what, but in that last fight against Camacho, I didn't feel like I lost the fight. That's probably the more important part here. I think the fight was close enough for either person to win. I think looking back on it, I think damaging shots wise, I think that fight was a draw. I definitely didn't feel like I lost, but I can understand how I didn't win, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
we thought we'd done enough.
Yeah, I feel that in MMA there's not enough draws, and your fight is kind of a prime example of that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, our fight was kind of compared. A couple of people compared it to Mike Hunt and Bigfoot Silva. I mean, you could argue that either guy won, but at the end of the day, it was a draw, and it's one of the classics. So it's I definitely wouldn't have been ashamed or embarrassed of the draw. I'm disappointed that I lost, especially because we felt like we did enough. But I can see how I didn't get the decision, if that makes sense.
Have you watched the fight many times?
Yeah, I watched it a few times. It kind of excites me. I almost watch it like a fan. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it must be pretty crazy to be able to watch yourself put on a fight of the year candidate.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch it until a few days later. I didn't watch it straight away. It drained me a little. I was a bit beat up. That wasn't too bad, actually, to be honest. I had a little bit of a bruising and that, no injuries. But yeah, I just took some time to recover, and then I sat down and watched it with my family, and it was pretty awesome. I mean, it was an exciting fight. It had everything. Had some good things that I can change in it, and some good things that I did, and bits and pieces of our training camp and our game plan that really worked out. So yeah, it had a little bit of everything, that fight.
What did you see that you could change?
I mean, I felt at times I was pushing forward and he was going backwards. I think he pushed forward a lot more than I did. So in the judges' eyes, it looked like he was winning. Like it's a perception thing. You need to convince the judges. And you've seen fights before where one guy outstrikes the other person by twice as much, but because the other guy's going forwards, it's perceived that they're winning the fight. And I think that was the case in ours. He spent a lot of time going forwards. I spent a lot of time on the back foot, counter striking. I think late in the third round, so we thought we won the first and third round. I think late in the third round, when we started exchanging punches, none of them actually hurt me, but it looked like it did. Just because I was so fatigued, I was sort of like we would strike and then I'd lean against the cage, and then we'd strike and I'd lean against the cage. So every time I leaned against the cage, it looked like I'd been rocked. I think there was just a few little things in there that I can change, more sort of positioning, sort of going forward kind of stuff.
The silver lining of that fight is that you got a bonus, especially when the holidays are coming up. Did that come in handy?
Yeah, I mean, I got my bonus. I think they paid it to me like a day before Christmas, so that was handy. But yeah, it's a funny subject. We thought we were getting both. I thought I was entitled to his. He wasn't entitled to it because of missing weight. I thought that we should have been given it. I took that fight for $3,000 extra. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot to put on the line for very little gain, especially getting a loss in such a close fight. But the dude, he was super nice, super professional. He's very apologetic. Hard guy to be annoyed at. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. The guy missed weight. I took the fight anyway. I put on a fight for the fans, or should I say, we put on a fight for the fans. And even with his blessing, we still thought that we deserved that 100K. It's been done before. Should have been done again. I mean, if you do something instead of precedent, you can't just pick and choose who you do it for. So that's disappointing. But man, it was awesome winning a bonus, like 50 grand American. That changes someone's life. So it was it was pretty amazing.
Last month in December, early December, you took a trip out to Vegas. What was the reasoning behind the trip, and did you visit the Performance Institute?
Yeah, so the reason behind the trip was one, I wanted to visit the Performance Institute, but the main reason was I had a teammate, Aaron Blackie. He went out to try out for the Ultimate Fighter, undefeated fighters only. He tried out at featherweight. That's where he's fought before. He's 4-0. The dude is literally a wizard. He's been one of my key, if not my key, training partner for the last 7 years. And he's just good everywhere. He's represented Australia all over the world in judo. And his whole MMA game's evolving. He's dangerous. And I told him I'd go there and support him. So we flew out there. We did some training at the Performance Institute. That was the first time I checked it out because I missed a retreat last year. And it was awesome, man. I seen the nutritionists out there, the strength and conditioning coaches. I did some testing and put together a bit of an athlete profile and gave us something to work on for the next camp. So we're working through that now, and and then we spent a day out there having fun. Hired a Lamborghini and drove down the strip, and acted like a couple of young blokes just having a good time. So that was pretty good as well.
Living the life, right?
Trying to.
At the Performance Institute, did you see anything there like you've never seen before at like a gym or like a facility?
I mean, the most amazing part was that everything was in one location. So like we got DEXA scans in Australia. We've got conditioning gyms and the kind of facilities that they had. We got physios, or I think they call them physical therapists out there, but we got physios and we've got MMA facilities, but we don't have all of that in one location. Like what they've got out there in one location is insane. It's like if you're a gym owner, that's your dream, is to own exactly what they had would be a dream. So it was pretty cool, man, just to have everything all in one spot. They got a cafe there, they got the whole lot, lunch, a restaurant. Like you could literally, I can see why they talk about Francis Ngannou living there, because if I went out there, that's pretty much what I do. Go there at 9 a.m. and leave at 4 p.m. So February
11th, UFC 221. You're gonna face another pretty exciting guy coming up in the division, Dong-Hyun Kim. Were you kind of confused when you first heard the name?
I was not confused at all. Oh. I know who he is because I watched the Paulo Reyes fight that he had, which was the first fight on the Fight Pass prelims, opened up the card for whatever event it was. But watching, I remember it thinking to myself, I hope that first fight gets fight of the night. And I can't remember the last time two guys opened up an event and 6 hours later got fight of the night. So I do remember the fight. I also remember him fighting Brendan O'Reilly because O'Reilly's from the same areas I'm from, and so I knew who it was. I wasn't confused at all. Not like everyone else on the internet. It's an exciting fight, man. The guy has the ability to take you down, lay on you, and make an absolute boring fight of it, or he can come and scrap. And if he comes to scrap, I'll finish the fight in the second round. So we'll see what happens.
This fight has gotten a lot of hype, a lot of attention when it was announced. Are you surprised by the reception that you're getting now?
No, not really. I think my last fight was win in every way except on paper. I hope to have one or two more of those kind of fights and, get a couple of victories and people start to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not surprised. I knew it was only a matter of time before people recognised my style is exciting and people wanted to see me. So, while I'm not surprised, I'm definitely humbled by it. It's an exciting experience. I'm truly blessed to do what I do and remain healthy enough to continue doing it. And, it's very humbling to have the support that I have around me and also, from the fans and, fight fans in general. So, yeah, it's not surprising, but it's humbling.
Now, your opponent, you said you watched a few of his fights. When you look at him, what do you see that he does well?
Oh, look, man, he shows a ton of heart. I mean, he'll go down swinging. I think he's shown that before. He's going to go down swinging. He clinches well. He's a judo black belt. So yeah, he's got a really good clinch I mean, he does a lot of things well, but I don't want to give away too much because it might give away my plan. But he's got a very good clinch game. And he's got a ton of heart, and that's an exciting fight if you ask me.
Well, I guess that's the type of guy that you want to fight from now on, right?
Yeah, man, I want exciting fights. Bobby Green, Diego Sanchez, Michael Johnson, Gil Melendez. I don't care about rankings, and money's nice, but it's not the end of the world. I made it to the top late in my career, and for me, it's just about getting the right fights and creating somewhat of a legacy and some stories for my son to look up to later on. So, just give me those exciting fights. I don't care about the names. I don't care about the rankings. I just want to scrap for the fans.
Do you think the rankings are somewhat of an illusion?
Yeah, they're like fraud, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's like how you got guys like Gil Melendez and Michael Johnson who are like 1-4 or 1-5 in their last 5 or 6 fights, and they still seem to be ranked up there. I mean, the dudes are legends. Don't get me wrong. Like, they've been around for a long time. They've fought the best of the best, and those 4 losses that they got in their last few fights are like to the best people in the world. But there's guys like Mehrbek Tusimov. He's like on a 6-fight win streak or something, 5-fight win streak. I mean, like, the guy can't even get a ranked opponent to fight him, let alone get ranked. It seems like there's these guys that have got to get on 5, 6, 7-fight win streaks just to get ranked. And then when they get ranked, I mean, look at James Vick. Like, he's like 8-1, 9-1 or something like that in the UFC. His only loss was to a ranked opponent. He won 4 or 5 in a row and he can't get another one. Yeah, man, I was just like, I'm just talking about like guys are on these wicked win streaks and can't get ranked opponents, So like, I'm 33 years old. I'm never going to be the Conor McGregor of the UFC. I'm never going to make millions of dollars. But man, if I can just put one win together at a time, then I never know what's going to happen in the next 2 to 3 years. So I'm just focused on myself, the fights that I can get, and hopefully if the UFC give me the opportunity, just the biggest fights I can get. Like I said, Diego Sanchez, Bobby Green. These guys that come to scrap, man. I don't really give a shit about laying down and being boring. I just want good fights that people want to see.
So do you take every fight as yourself being against the wall?
Yeah. I mean, well, I definitely am in this one, but pretty much like, the way I look at it is I'm just one of these guys that came in. I came in short notice, like 6 days notice 2 years ago, and I was never signed to be a prospect in this division. I was signed to fill a card, and I've never been on a main card. Despite coming off a knockout on a pay-per-view in my second fight, I still didn't make the main card. So, the way I see it is I'm a card filler, and it sucks, but it's my duty to change people's way of thinking. So, until I can put 3 or 4 or 5 win streaks together, 5-fight win streak together, then that's where I'll stay. So it's up to me to change that. It's up to me to change people's opinions of me, and my performances will do that. So yeah, I'm just focused on each fight. I always kind of think I'm the underdog anyway, especially this one. I'm on a 2-fight losing streak. He's on a 2-fight winning streak. Feature fight. People know I'm coming to scrap, so we'll see what he does.
Before I let you go, I wanted to talk about an issue that you deal with, which is PTSD, and the way you kind of help people with PTSD. Now, being in the UFC, has that helped you kind of like broaden your reach to people and help them?
Yeah, look, so I think there might have been a mix-up with another interview I did. So to start with, I don't have a charity.
Okay.
I don't have a charity at all. But what I do is I just hope to raise enough awareness. So I'm not sure about America and everywhere else in the world, but in Australia, it seems kind of ridiculous that veterans get left to their own devices once they leave the military. A lot of them suffering from severe injuries, breaks, loss of limbs, PTSD, anxiety, can't leave their house. Yet they're in limbo for 3, 4, 5, 6 years with Department of Veterans Affairs to get their claims processed, or with Commonwealth superannuation to get their pensions sorted. So, if you've got here's an example. So there's a group of from Commonwealth Super. They sit on cases, right? So they sit on veterans cases. Now they sit on veterans cases once a month. That means they have 12 meetings a year. As far as I'm aware, they don't sit in December because of the Christmas break. So they sit 11 times a year. Now there's like tens of thousands of veterans. So I don't know how a government department can only sit on those cases for that long. So what I hope is that my position in the UFC and my position, my platform, can raise enough awareness for people to understand that veterans aren't getting the help that they need. They're struggling, and it's a lonely old world out there when you're struggling. So I hope just to raise enough awareness so people can help them out, because they're not getting the help that they deserve. And ever since trying to get that out there, I've had a lot of people reach out to me. I regularly have people reach out to me. There's a veteran at the moment over in Texas that messages me pretty regularly. He's got some brain injuries going on, and yeah, I think it's pretty cool, man. I mean, my inbox on my Twitter and that is always open. People can direct message me, and I might not get back straight away, but I always try to get back to them. And I can't change the world, but I can give them enough encouraging words to get them out of bed that day. So hopefully I just raise enough awareness for people to reach out to these veterans and these people that are feeling lonely and struggling with their day, and hopefully that just even if it just keeps them alive, that's me doing what I set out to do.
Yeah, I think that what you're doing is something that is so important, and a lot of people are benefiting from that and using that platform. You're not just one of the guys that go out into the cage and perform and entertain the fans. You're also looking out for the guys that are out there struggling and in the grind, and it's very commendable that you're doing those things.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I just want people to know they're not alone, and if just spreading the word is what I can do, then that's what I'll do.
All right, you could catch Damien Brown at UFC 221 February 11th against Dong-Hyun Kim. It should be fight of the night, and Damien Brown's going to come deliver. So thank you for your time, Damien.
Thank you, man. See ya.
Good luck.